Welcome to The Explainer. Tonight, we're jumping into a story that kicks off in a city already shattered by disaster. A small group has to face this mysterious ancient threat that's buried deep, deep beneath the streets. But, and this is the key part, this is not your typical monster hunt.
And that quote right there, that's the chilling prophecy that just changes everything for them. But before we can really get into the weight of that statement, we have to understand the crisis that pushed them to this point in the first place.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in Portland, deep under the city in the historic Shanghai tunnels. And down there, something ancient is starting to stir. The only thing standing in its way? A small group of vampires, the kindred.
So here's the kicker. Their mission is to go investigate this thing, but they know almost nothing about it. The only piece of intel they have comes from the folks who actually live down there, the sewer-dwelling Nosferatu. And their advice is basically, don't go. It's a death wish.
But you know, before they could even think about facing the enemy down below, they've got a bigger problem. The enemy within their own ranks. A massive ideological conflict is about to tear this group apart. And we're not just talking about a small disagreement here. This is a deep, fundamental split on how to survive.
And this slide just lays it all out, right? You've got two completely different strategies for dealing with this one threat. On one side, you have Undertaker. He's the warrior, and he's all about action. He thinks control comes from hitting hard and fast. Then you've got Joshua, the scholar. He's arguing that true control comes from knowing what you're up against. For him, charging in blind isn't brave. It's just a fancy way to commit suicide.
Yeah, for Undertaker, this is a no-brainer. The threat is growing by the minute. To him, the only logical move is to grab the biggest, baddest weapons they can find, we're talking fire, and go deal with it, right now. Waiting is just giving the enemy more time. But then there's Joshua, and he sees it completely differently. He's like, hold on, what do we actually know? They have a location and a couple of old myths. That's it. And acting on that, that's not a plan, it's a death wish. His priority is simple. Information, information, information.
So they're at a total impasse, right? A dangerous stalemate. And what breaks it isn't some big debate or compromise. Nope. It's shattered by terrifying supernatural vision that basically takes their entire plan and throws it right out the window.
So one of the guys in the group, Matt, he has this power called premonition. It's basically a supernatural glimpse into what's going on. It gives him these cryptic but super important clues. Seeing that they're getting nowhere, he decides to use it to try and get the answers that Joshua is pushing so hard for.
And what he sees, wow, it's a game changer. The vision gives him 4 absolutely shattering revelations. First, this thing, this entity, which they think is an ancient Egyptian demon named Apep, it can't be killed. It's immortal. Second, if they try to fight it, they will lose. Not just lose, but suffer final death. Third, the only way to survive is to negotiate. They have to bargain with it. And fourth, and this is the really weird part, there's someone else trapped down there, crying out for help.
So while the team is trying to wrap their heads around this insane new reality, the entity's influence starts seeping out of the tunnels. It's like a poison, and it's starting to infect the entire city. It starts as this unseen wave of energy, a psychic shockwave that just rolls out from Chinatown. And if you have any kind of supernatural senses, like our coterie does, it hits you like a sledgehammer. We're talking intense, crippling pain. And for everyone else, it just starts to unravel their sanity.
And the effects are just devastating. You have to remember, this is a city that's already on its knees recovering from a massive earthquake. Now, on top of that, it's descending into chaos. Random fights are breaking out everywhere. There's this thick, palpable tension in the air. People start doing these bizarre, obsessive things, like watering roses in the middle of the night. It's clear the threat is not contained anymore. It's a full-blown psychic plague.
Okay, so Undertaker's plan to just go in guns blazing, that's completely off the table now. So the group has to pivot, and they have to do it fast. The new thinking is, if we can't fight our way out of this, we need to see our way out. They need better eyes.
And I mean, their entire strategy just flips on a dime all in a few hours. Forget weapons. Now it's a mad scramble to get their hands on intelligence assets. First, they cut a deal with the Nosferatu to use rats as like little organic scouts. Then, they do something risky. They reach out to a rival faction, the Futurists. These are tech-obsessed vampires who deal in information and high-tech gear. They need some serious hardware, and they need it now.
So what they end up with are 2 totally opposite approaches to this impossible problem. You've got the diplomatic option, high-tech drones from the futurists for remote, safe surveillance, that's the Joshua plan. But then you have the nuclear option. Undertaker, who's still not 100% on board with this whole don't fight thing, he's gone and made his own homemade Dragon's Breath shotgun shells. So they literally have one option for seeing and one for burning.
So they've got new toys. They've made some very shaky alliances, and now they're just bracing for whatever comes next. They're standing on the edge of a cliff, and they have absolutely no idea what they're about to find down there in the dark.
And the pressure is just immense, you know? The psychic waves are getting worse, the city is literally tearing itself apart, and the team finally understands their real mission. It's not about destroying this thing. It's about figuring out what it wants before there's no city left to save.
So they have this super tense 4 a.m. meeting with a futurist who is just insufferably smug, but they get the drones. The problem? The sun is coming up. They're out of time and trapped. The only place they can hide is the walk-in freezer of a closed restaurant, a cold, tiny box where they have to wait out the day.
And so that's where we leave them, waiting for sunset, armed with new tech, but just riddled with doubt. Their whole mission has been turned on its head, from a simple fight to a high-stakes negotiation. And that question, the one just hanging there in the cold air of that freezer, that's the real cliffhanger, isn't it? Will these new eyes show them a way to survive, or are they just going to get a clearer picture of their own doom?